Hello, love. So happy to be back with you. Yesterday, was Easter as I'm recording this, and I had the most beautiful, blessed day. I watched an amazing service, rested, relaxed, rode my bike for a good bit, and just had an amazing conversation with my son. That was just beautiful. I just love him. Love you, Taylor. And it was just a beautiful day. And I hope all of you had a beautiful Easter. I hear spring's coming for some of you. So I wish that upon you too. So today we're going to talk about magical food plans. And if you've been on the diet roller coaster, which if you're listening to this, I bet you have been, whether it's 5 years, 10 years, or 50 years, I think we were taught this motto, eat less, move more. There's a lot of marketing out there and, the diet industry, and, it's turned into, somewhere out there is a magical food combination. And if you eat that, you will lose weight. Now, if you eat it, you might lose weight for sure, right? We've all done the things where we've lost some weight on all the things. But what happens is that over time, you start sabotaging your success, you start eating a little more, maybe you cut out carbohydrates or sugar, and suddenly, you're so stressed about eating the cupcake. Ladies, right? And you don't know what to do because you didn't lose weight eating cupcakes. So now you're panicked. And then slowly, you keep telling yourself, I'm going to get back on track tomorrow. Ladies, I've done this for like a year of like, I'm getting back on track tomorrow. Like tomorrow's the day, tomorrow's the day, right? And so this is what I like to call the diet roller coaster. And it's just looking for food or an exercise plan so you can lose weight. And this is the important part of this piece, without changing your thinking or your beliefs. See, ladies, I think all of us, all of you who are listening or watching me on YouTube, right? We know a little bit like what feels good in our body. We might be disconnected from it, which is what I really work with my clients on. But you somewhat know, right? If you just eat and you're stuffed all the time, you don't feel good, you probably know like, maybe that's not good, right? And a certain amount of food that feels good and that, if you eat a little bit less, right, you can lose weight. I think we all have that understanding, that base knowledge. But this is where the rub comes in. If you don't start to work on your beliefs, on your thinking, if you're not being coached, if you're not starting to believe new things, and two, I think one of the most important things, if you just don't have awareness of why. See, so much of the work that I do with my clients and in Transform Boss is about this awareness of, what are my triggers? Why do I want to overeat? Why do I want to emotionally eat? And see, a food plan just does not solve that. And this diet roller coaster that I'm sure you've been on, it feels so difficult. And I think that now, if you've been on it I was on it for almost 38 years, there's a little bit of trauma in my body because I felt so much shame about my weight. And I had these things that have happened to me. I'd go into a gym and be ostracized, or people staring at me like, hey, what's this 300-pound girl doing in the gym? And maybe they weren't even thinking that. Maybe not, but I felt that way. And so it's caused this stress in my body and shame. This is what the diet roller coaster is. And a food plan and an exercise plan just won't solve that. I want to back up a minute and just talk about biases and why, you might be asking yourself, Shannon, why do I keep doing this to myself? I can't tell you how many times I just was like, I went back to WW, I don't even know. I don't know. I say 13, 14 times. I really don't know how many times I tried to go back. I just remember having a stack of those little cards, from how many times. And I'm sure I didn't keep them all. And I tried online. I mean, ladies, I did all the things. And So you might be asking yourself, like, why do I keep doing this to myself? And so I want to talk about your brain because, ladies, I love the brain. I do. I love how we're wired. And one of the biases that I want to talk about today is called status quo. And this bias, all humans have it, I believe. And this is your preference to keep things the way they are. Okay. So, an easy example of this, if you're anything like me, I do this. You go to a restaurant that you go to a lot, and they have this new special and it looks delicious, and you smell it and you're like, oh my gosh, it looks good. I'm watching someone eat it. And you're like, oh, I want to try it. I want to try it. And then your brain's like, oh, let's just go with what we always do, the safe option. And, even though you might enjoy the new special, it might become your new favorite. You go with quote unquote the status quo. And this happens with many of us in weight loss. And again, this is just how our brain is wired. We want to go with the safe option. Remember, Lizzie wants to keep us out of danger. Change equals danger in our brains. This is why humans don't like change. This is why humans resist it because we don't like it. We're not wired to like it. It feels dangerous to us, change, right? We want to go with the status quo. It's just a bias that we have in our brain. So I think about this in weight loss. So you've been to Weight Watchers, you've been keto or counting calories, for 20 years. And maybe it wasn't keto, maybe it was Atkins, right? You've been removing some food group for a long time. Maybe you just went on the fruit only diet or oh my gosh, what was that cabbage soup diet, right? So you've been doing this for so long that feels familiar. That is your status quo. I want to repeat that. You dieting, following a food plan, looking for a magical food plan. This is status quo to you. This is what you do. It's familiar. And so you search in the internet for the next new thing, buying a new pill, doing the new thing. That's just so normal to you. I know it's just really important, my love, to just understand that this is how you're wired. And so when you go to start to do something different, I watch this in my clients. At first they're really excited. They're like, yes, 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 I found a different way. They love me. They're like, yes, yes, yes. And then there's a moment, and then it can be more moments where they're like, oh man, this has changed. This is different. And their brain starts piping up. Do I want to do this work? Oh, no, I'm failing. I'm not doing it right. All the things. And so understanding that this is just how you're wired, that you have this bias to just go with the status quo. If all your friends are doing the next new thing, maybe it's Optavia. I could name 1,000 of them. There's so many. So I can't even keep up, ladies. There's so many. I just saw something because, I love researching this stuff. It was like, I don't know, it's Shred 5 or something. I was like, oh, there's just always some new thing. And so we're used to that. That has become our status quo. And so we have to start to think something different, and we have to start doing something different. Hashtag DSD, do something different. And at first you'll feel excited for a bit, maybe a little fear in there, but then you're going to come to a point where you're like, whoa, this is different. Whoa, this is work. And then your brain will do one of two things. You will do one of two things. You will continue with the work and do that hard, or you'll go back to wanting to feel familiar, wanting to be comfortable. Ladies, I know I did this. When I first started learning this work, I went in and out of it for sure. And so I don't want you to beat yourself up for it. I just want you to keep coming into awareness of like, oh, this work of changing my thoughts, what I believe, working on my mind, that is what's going to get me the results that I want in my life. When I start to think differently, feel differently, then I start to do things differently. And when I can feel uncomfortable, when I can feel, I'm in a puddle about, oh, I don't want to do this today, and I do it anyways, that builds resilience. Oh, ladies, you just become unstoppable. This is the thing, my loves. There is no magical food plan. I know. We think there is, but there isn't. The magic is within you. The magic is in your thinking. It's in your thoughts. It's in believing something different. It's reprogramming your brain from years of thinking that you're not good enough, that you can't do it. It's reconnecting to your body so that you can feel hunger and fullness and start to like, oh, you know what? I ate half a cupcake today and I was satisfied. Do you know how powerful that feels when you're like, oh my gosh, I'm losing weight and I can eat anything. I can eat anything because I pay attention. That's what I teach in Transform Boss. It's so powerful. That is where the magic is. To lose weight and heal your relationship, this is what you have to do. This is my take on it, ladies. Number one, you have to notice what you're thinking. Awareness of how your thinking is causing you to overeat or to do things that you don't want to do. This comes where you feel like maybe you're eating behind your own back, right? And this is because you have these automatic thoughts, right? That's the automatic part of your brain. And so I want you to ask yourself this question: how and why do I want to stay the same? You're like, Shannon, I don't. No, I really want you to ask this question. I want you to ask yourself, how and why do I want to stay the same? Even though I know it causes me hardship, even though I don't like it, you have some reasoning to why you want to stay the same. Number two, then I want you to decide on purpose, consciously using your thinking brain. What do you want to think about your ability to lose weight? What do you want to think about losing weight? What do you want to decide on purpose to think about yourself? Just choose one, make it simple. And number three, whatever you and number two decided to think about yourself, about your capability to lose weight, it has to be positive, ladies. It can't be rainbows and daisies. Maybe it's, I'm learning to do something different. I love that thought. And so practice that thinking and practice it over and over again. Have it come up in your phone. All my ladies in Transform, get coached, go through the coursework, immerse yourself in this content of, learning how to change what you think and believe about yourself. Because when you reprogram your brain, that's when it gets easier. It does. I just want to give you some hope, ladies. I know when you're starting this work, or maybe you've even been in it for 6 months, over time, it does get easier. Now, I want to give you one little caveat there, though. Then you want to go and do something amazing, though, and the next thing. So you'll lose your weight, and then you're like, oh, what's next? What's next? What do I want to do? And then you'll be off to starting a business or changing a career or, taking up a hobby or volunteering or doing something. And that's what happens. And then you'll be like, oh my gosh, this is hard. So I just want to say, this losing weight, when you start to believe and change your thinking, it will get easier over time. But ladies, you'll just become unstoppable. And then you'll be like, oh my gosh, what else can I do? I've watched this with my clients, so I know that this happens, and myself. So next week, 3 thoughts to change to lose weight. I'm so excited about that episode. Now, make sure that you subscribe and follow. So you want to hit the little plus sign if you're listening on Apple, or if you're in Spotify, you want to follow. So make sure that you follow me so that, every Wednesday, the new episode's right there. You don't want to miss out. These episodes are juicy. I know. You can follow the YouTube channel too, and then it's always there for you. And you can watch the podcast. And of course, if you want to take this work deeper, then check out Transform Boss. It's my monthly membership where I teach women how to lose weight for the last time and get off the diet roller coaster. It's based on coaching, community, and coursework. You can go to jointransformboss.com, see if we're open. Right? Oh, we're closed right now. So I don't know when you're listening to this episode, but we open and we close. But if we're closed, we'll throw the free course in there. So, all right. Bye for now, loves.